Well, they buy, but then how do you retain them? How do you get them to become referrals? How do you get them to become brand loyalists?
I
And
see.
then just kind of make that a circle versus, and really becomes a bunch of little funnels throughout the circle, right?
Welcome to the Business Growth Masterclass, where business growth is made simple. I'm your host, Albert Gillespie.
And I'm your co-host, Kellen Ketchersid. Join us as we bring you stories from business leaders so you can learn from their wins, their losses, and everything in between.
Today's guest is the founder of a local marketing firm, the Tadpole Agency, here in Lubbock, Texas. Welcome to the podcast.
Yo,
Mr. Jonathan Silva, how are you?
yeah, man, I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited about it.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Of course.
All right. Marketing agency. This is one of those subjects that feels, at least to me, maybe you can relate, Kellen, feels pretty abstract to me, feels pretty woo, and that it's not concrete, and I don't know how to wrap my arms around it. It's hard to dispel. Mm-hmm. And so can you just give us a brief rundown of what is the Tadpole Agency? What do you guys do? What do you help business owners accomplish?
Yeah. I love that you feel that way, and I feel that way too. Especially for us, when we started Tadpole, it was we don't want to put any bars or any put it in a box. So very simply, I think it's important to say our bread and butter is we are a results focused marketing or ad agency. Whether that's strategy, running paid ads, or doing creative photo, video, brand design, we do all of that. But I think something that kind of makes Tadpole stand out a little bit is that we just love problem solving and being solutions. I think you guys fall into that too.
Yeah.
Where we run into a lot of points where we do a lot of marketing or do these things for these people and get customers to the door, but then they don't know what to do or don't craft that experience after they're there. You know what I mean? Or even after they're gone. And so that's something I personally really love. Just kind of crafting customer experiences and helping brands establish what that looks like.
So if I'm a business owner and I hire you, I should know up front, what deliverables there are. Do you measure that in data, or how do you define what success looks like for somebody that you're doing work for?
Yeah, the data is for sure is the key factor.
So what kinds of measures?
It goes from all over. So there's kind of 3 different phases that we try to get involved with our clients. Mm-hmm. Some of them don't do that. They don't care about it. And then usually our favorite ones do. Okay. And so we look at it from an organic standpoint, what's the organic, either social or ads or Google profile, what is that doing? Whether that's impression, your reach, engagement, clicks to the website, and then conversions like a phone call, an established phone call, or a form fill, right? When they become a lead, whether they're qualified or not, they become a lead. So there's phase 1. Phase 2 then for us is are they a qualified lead? Are we targeting? Are we getting the right people? Are we explaining or setting expectations correctly, either up front in the ad or on the website? And then it gets into, they're qualified. Did they become a customer? Are they the type of customer you want? Whether that's retail or B2B, is that something that's sustainable? Is that the kind of client that's sustainable for you?
Okay. So sorry to interrupt. Sometimes you have people coming to your website or whatever, they might fill out your form. If they're not who you want, that's what defines as a qualified lead, or would you say? Okay.
Yeah. In some cases, sometimes not all of them can be a qualified lead. If you want to look at it, I don't know, sorry, this gets a little bit deep, right? But there's different ways to look at that, qualified in the moment, qualified in down the road, or maybe they're just we're not a good match.
Gotcha.
I love the data approach to that. You're talking to two spreadsheet junkies over here.
Yeah.
Dude, love it.
but the starting out with a baseline, I think that's so important. And as a business owner, I'm always looking at our ad spend and different metrics like what's the dollar per lead or the dollar per executed lease or contract
acquisition.
And that's super important to keep track of. But so much in the beginning, like you don't even know. You don't even know how many leads are you getting? Where are they coming from? What are you spending right now? What is the acquisition rate? There's so much of that I appreciate that you guys kind of start there. And then I imagine that makes it pretty easy to measure. Okay, now we implemented A, B, and C of our offerings. And now, compared to the baseline, it's this much better. And so is that kind of what you guys do?
Yes, absolutely. And one of my favorite things, I love that you brought it up, is getting to the cost per acquisition point. And sometimes it takes 6 months. Like, so it's not an easy, like, oh, we're going to have this for you in 30, 60 days. And anybody that tells you that could be a little bit of snake oil there, right? Like, it takes time to figure out what works. But our ultimate goal with clients who have the capability, because some don't use CRM, some just fly off the seat of their pants, right? Like, but for the ones that have CRMs, like, we do love getting to the point where we can give them a cost per acquisition and know if you get this many leads, you're going to convert them this way. And we get heavily involved with the sales team, heavily. And we'll ask them, okay, well, what's this? Get all these data points from their end. And then eventually get to a point where we know for every $100 that we spend, we're going to create this much revenue. Or for every $20, it's going to generate this much revenue. Just because we have that kind of brand, we have that kind of strategy. Our sales people are closers or not. Like, we have that middle ground. And then you have your like different percentages, right? Of like, okay, this is going to fail here somewhere. So you kind of feed that into there too. So eventually the goal is to get to that CPA.
So we're using a lot of terminology here that some listeners may not be familiar with. It might help us to break down a few of these terms just so people understand, put it in layman's terms for them.
I'm glad you said that.
So, you mentioned a CRM. Can you just tell the listeners what that means, what that's referring to?
Yeah. So customer relationship manager or management system. So that would be where, in an ideal situation, your website, your phones, everything's connected into the CRM. So you can tell when a lead's coming in and then structure how you want that experience to be tailored for them. So as soon as it comes in, do they get an automatic email, or, does it get assigned to a salesperson? Or maybe it's something that you're a retail store, and an easier way to look at that is a loyalty program and knowing how you're going to circle up or keep your customers engaged.
Okay.
And something about CRMs, I think that does, and HubSpot is a huge CRM who kind of coined this term, and I love it. It's always stuck with me. Is like getting sales away from sales funnels to sales flywheels. Whereas like everything is one big circle. It's not, top of funnel, which would be someone interested in your industry, and then coming down to the bottom of the funnel, which would be sell, right? They become a customer. But so many of us think in that, like, it's transactional, it's one in and out kind of thing, instead of thinking of, well, they buy, but then how do you retain them? How do you get them to become referrals? How do you get them to become brand loyalists? And then just kind of make that a circle versus, and really becomes a bunch of little funnels throughout the circle, right? Of like, okay, they became a customer. Now, how do we make them someone that's going to go tell their friends about it? And then how do we make them come back to us again?
I see. Repeat customer. Yeah.
I love this. Okay. I'm a practical guy and I like stories. Is there a, maybe you can share a name of a client, and if you can't, that's fine. But can you kind of tell us a story of a client that you had from the beginning until implementing the things that you're talking about, and what it looked like afterwards?
Dude. Yeah. I have a couple. The easiest one, because I think everybody's done this, is McGavick Nissan. So obviously everybody's bought a car, so you kind of understand, or everyone can kind of comprehend that. And they're the perfect example because they have multiple different services that support a car owner throughout their lifestyle, or their, that cycle of owning that vehicle. So when we came in, I don't know. Okay, this kind of coincides with like the Tadpole story. Do you just want me to start there
let's
and then
hear
just
it.
like
Yeah.
do it?
Let's get
Okay,
it.
so this is pretty cool. So Kate, my wife, started working at McGavick in 2020. Shortly after, whenever she got hired, which is a whole different story in its own. Of like, I don't want to go to the interview, and I'm telling her like, no, you should go. Like, just there's nothing wrong with it. Like go check it out. I don't know about car sales, or being in the automotive world. And anyways, she ends up going to the interview. Brent's awesome. He's a really great guy. He's also an avid art collector. Like, dude has some crazy art, and so that really interested Kate too, because she's an artist. So like being able to meet him on that level was really cool. In that interview, he's like, oh, I've always wanted to start an ad agency. And so we've always like, at least for the last few people that we worked for, have always mentioned to us, or like to the point where plans were drawn up, like, hey, we're gonna start an ad agency. And then for whatever reason, those fell through. And thankfully, so when Brent said that, Kate was like, well, sure, like, yeah, I'd love to too. We'll see if that ever happens. Later on down the line, they bought a store in Rockwall. And this is kind of where it circles to your last question, but they bought a store in Rockwall, Texas, which is outside of Dallas. This Nissan store was the largest physical Nissan in the US, or even in North America, actually. I think I'm going to get this wrong. It's either 11 or 20. That's how wrong I am. But 11 or 20 acres. So this dealership is just
wow.
massive.
Yeah.
But it was regularly like bottom of the barrel in the nation as far as production or sales volume. Super low, just performing bad, had a bad name. And then to compound that, one of the top 15 dealers in the nation was like 6 miles down the road. So we come in and we're already 6 feet under. Like there's this huge reputation to overcome, new market, hyper competitive. There's, I don't know, more than 10 Nissan dealerships in DFW. It's quite a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot. I mean, it was crazy. So coming in there, it was for everybody. We're doing everything new. A lot of things are getting scrapped from what's currently in this dealership. All new data. The previous owner's data wasn't like very clean. So a lot of it we spent a lot of time cleaning their CRM and finding out like, who's viable, who's upset, and how can we turn them around. And so like there was a lot of boots on the ground, pre-ads even, like a lot of dirty work getting done to make them super happy. And fortunately, Brent's just like that person that really, really cares. He's super competitive. And he really genuinely cares about his customers. Like if you're a McGavick buyer, like he's got you. And he's the kind of guy that he's in the dealership 7 days a week. He's shaking hands with everybody as he's walking through. He may be walking through in shorts and a shirt because he just came out of the gym, but he's there and he wants people to know how much he cares that they're doing business with him. So it's really cool. Huge fan of him. So circling back to your question, come into Rockwall, and we had nothing. I mean, it's kind of like redoing everything because you have a lot of upset people, so you're scared to start communicating with them. It's kind of hard to use that data to remarket when they're upset, right? So you have to change perception really quickly. But anyway, so we fortunately, he knew that he had inventory that he could sell, so he was able to attach a budget pretty quickly. And he's also he trusts himself. He trusts his team. So he was okay. Like most companies would probably come into that situation and say, okay, our ad budget's going to be pretty small. He came in pretty strong.
So let me back up just real quick because Kate went in for the interview, right? Mm-hmm. And then Brent hired her, obviously. Yeah. And so then you're in the picture now at this point, right? Is in the story?
Yet.
Or, okay.
So I came on. That was 2020. Towards the end of 2020 is when Rockwall came on.
Okay.
2021, beginning of 21 is when I came into the picture, and then Tadpole started quickly thereafter.
As an in-house marketing agency originally? Agency. Okay, yeah, from McGavick.
Brent said, let's start it. And then, it was pretty much all McGavick. But what's funny is we, March 10th, 2021, we had our first client. We officially launched publicly April 1st. So some people knew things were going on. Yeah. And of course, McGavick was already a client too. But yeah, that came on there. Anyway, so Rockwall took a while. The cool thing about automotive is that there's data everywhere. You can tell when VINs are moving. You know when a VIN has been sold by a different dealer or it's been traded. And so the data that you have as far as customer and product is unmatched. No one else, no other industry, I believe, has the kind of data that automotive has. So that one was super simple to be able to then like get to the point of, okay, we're spending this much. We have these third parties. Our website costs this much. We have these vendors on here, and we can get down to percentages of here's the profit, here's the loss, here's what we're making on the back end, here's what the manufacturer's giving back to us. It's crazy cool. So that Rockwall, like I said, was bottom of the barrel. Within the first 18 months, they were top 15 in the nation. And that's literally, thankfully, because of the data that we had, where we can say slowly build up and build up and build up and build up.
Wow.
As far as our budgets and targeting was concerned.
So you went from one of the worst in the nation to one of the top 15 in the nation. In how long? What was the time?
I could be wrong. Someone can correct me later, but I want to say within 12 months.
Wow.
Which isn't,
that's a huge
insane
win.
Yeah. So aside from what the McGavick customer service team and different things like that, obviously they're good at what they do.
Yep.
Not their first rodeo. They knew what they were doing.
Absolutely.
But on the marketing side, what did that look like? What were some practical things that just pure marketing, attending to the customer, what were you guys able to do to get them from bottom of the barrel to, one of the better performers?
I think follow-up game. So going back to those people that were upset and responding and saying, hey, we're under new ownership. We'd love a chance to get to know you and find out how we can salvage this.
Yeah.
Was that automated? Is that how you accomplished that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
the content
kind of
wasn't,
follow-up,
but mining that data was automated.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Kellen, this is one thing as we've gone deeper on the marketing subject, is it's not just ads. It's not just, what does your logo look like? It's not, just those kind of outward facing things. A lot of marketing is that, we say this over and over and over, is that unreasonable hospitality.
Yeah.
Is, okay, how can we regularly, frequently, on purpose, reach out to our customers and see how can we help them solve a problem? What problems do you have? And how can our product or service be a solution to that and make your life better, easier, more fulfilling?
And to do that in a way that doesn't feel slimy or unwanted, right?
Yeah,
because we all know what it's like to get that text that's like, leave me alone.
Yeah. Especially when you're mad already, here's this guy calling me again.
But just, I think a lot of marketing is just asking the question.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, how are you? Are you satisfied? And that it doesn't feel like the traditional marketing, but that's just contacting your customer. And if there's something wrong and you fix the problem, all of a sudden, all right, they might buy from you again. They might become a loyal customer. You might turn them around. Or, if they're already a raving fan, maybe it's asking for that testimonial that goes on your website that they share with all their friends. Hey, look, I made this company's website. And it's that that kind of in the weeds, gritty,
genuine care.
Yeah,
man. And that's where you get your loyalists. And that's where I bring up that flywheel again, right? You're delighting your customer. And it's not just, hey, thanks for your transaction. Maybe call 48 hours later. Hey, are you liking it? Cool. What are you doing in 6 months?
Yeah.
That's where you find your the good sales teams, right? Or the good operations team or the good fulfillment team, and the ones that care way beyond the transaction.
you and Kate, and I haven't met the rest of the team, but you seem like very creative types and uniquely creative. I mean, I would imagine most marketing people
Yeah,
are
I hope
creative by
so.
nature, but you guys especially. And I'm just curious if you think that you have a certain kind of flavor that you bring to things that sets you apart. What is it that makes you guys, stand out from some of the other marketing agencies that are out there for people?
Yeah, I think that like we take sort of a blue collar approach to things. Something that makes us super special as well is that we're executors. Like we're not, or implementers even. Like we're not just business owners, or we're not people who are like, oh, I got a degree, I'm going to go start a business and start finding things. Like we cut our teeth in agency. Kate cut her teeth even before my ad agency, literally selling newspaper ads. I mean, that's 2011, And so we all have experience on the ground. Whether, went, started an agency and then went in house. And when you're in house, you learn a lot more. Hopefully you learn a lot more about like profit margins, how bad the leads affect those profit margins, or how wasting time um, trying to like filter through a bunch of crap like really slows you down and makes your business inefficient. Or you also learn like the follow up. Those are the kinds of things that we learned while we were in house and genuinely caring. So when I was working in house, I worked for a construction company, and for a while, a lot of my job was calling warranty customers. So if someone's roof was leaking, they'd get a call. They'd call us and say, "Hey, my roof's leaking." They're usually pretty angry, and then I'm the first call that they get from us, and I would
What a
just
fun
listen.
job to have.
Oh, it was fun, man. Like what's cool
really?
is it was fun because it gave me that, it fulfilled my need to like have personal like connections with our customers. And so I would listen and just take it. So yeah, I totally understand. And there are times where someone would get so mad that I'd be like, you know what, I'm gonna come see you, and get in my truck and go. And I didn't know what I was. Some of the times I didn't even know what I was looking at, but I'd get on a roof or I'd get in an attic and say, "Oh yeah," just to make them feel
going the extra mile.
Yeah, just to make
winning
them
the
feel,
relationship over. Yeah,
exactly. And so I think that's what makes us different. Is that we are in it every day implementing. We're looking at the numbers too. It's not just an account manager. It's not just a project manager that's looking at it like, and the owner's just looking at P&Ls or HR stuff or sales funnels or pipelines, stuff like that. Like we're part of every step.
And your clients feel that, we have the same approach with our business coaching at Stag Business Coaching. And, clients can tell when you really genuinely are thinking about them all the time.
Yeah.
And, they feel that when you're just as intuitive about how, they need to solve these problems. So, obviously from our perspective, we're thinking a lot about strategy and operations and things like that. But I could see how that would be the same for marketing. So,
yeah, I just feel like how you are articulating, especially the last few minutes, marketing is how you do everything. It's your entire customer interaction is delivering on your brand, and how you acquire them. Yeah, that's kind of what we typically think of marketing is. Someone is generally interested in something, and then you have marketing that tells them about your product and tells them to come buy it. But then that customer fulfillment part, the customer service, the making them feel seen and heard, that's building this brand that they become loyal customers, they become referrers that tell their friends about your business, and that becomes this like self-fulfilling flywheel that you were describing. And that's like another one of the, and maybe I'm repeating myself from earlier, but marketing is every part of your business.
Yeah, it's like you have a relationship with the brand. You feel like you know them. And
and then figuring out how to deliver that in a systematic way is the next step. Is, talking about the CRM that you're referring to. How can we automate a lot of these touch points to make people feel seen and heard, to send an automated message that asks the question,
right.
Are you satisfied? Is something, is everything going well? What can we do better? And then when you get that information, then you do something with that. But that's the next step, is how can we automatically, in a systematic way, deliver on this?
Yeah. So let's take that from the abstract to concrete now. So walk us through just like simple steps you take a client through to approach their marketing strategy. Like, what are your steps, 1 through 3 or 1 through 5, just in a simple boiled down version for us?
A lot of it starts out with the discovery, right? And so we try to understand their process first. So what happens when a customer comes in and they say they want to do business with you, and we try to figure that whole thing, like just get a basic map. And sometimes even when they're talking, they're like, oh wait, and I did it with you guys when we were doing our class. I'm like, oh wait, it's just funny because you always think about others, or we tend to think about our clients or prospects before we think about ourselves. So you guys have been super helpful in that. But we try to get that from them, is what's this process like? What makes you different? What are you really proud of about your company? And what kind of customer gives you the most life and the best return on your investment? And then we kind of work backwards. Okay, here's some strategies on how to hit those targets. Or let's build the persona, and then here's how we target them. And then here's what we're going to do, and then content. You know what I mean? That way, because content will then structure based on where we're targeting or
makes
what
total
platform we're
sense.
using.
You got to know how are you going to win in your market before you can approach the marketing side. That would make sense.
Yeah. Well, and some people run into like, oh yeah, a lot of people aren't set up, for example, like they may have an admin at businesscompany.com email, but they don't know who's reaching it, or like they've never gotten online leads before. Everything's been a phone call or someone coming in. So you have to train them, or you have to make sure those processes are set up before you start marketing online. As in they get those leads and
they're just going to be lost.
Yeah. They look up and they lost them. And not only did you lose them, now you offended them. Like you told them you were going to give them something you didn't.
Yeah. So much of what you're describing, we operate by the exact same principles. And so you're starting out with discovery of like, what is their process today? Who is their ideal customer? What is the ideal process? And you're drawing that out. You're creating a map so everyone can see it visually. They understand, they put the item in the cart, and then what's the next step? And so you go through that entire process. And I imagine you're asking, you have other clients, you've seen widgets made. Yep. And so there's probably some best practices that you can kind of speak into your customer and set up an ideal framework for acquiring a customer and then delivering that good or service. And then, once you have that set up, then you can start to create your content to deliver on that promise and ask those questions. Is that, I was trying to paraphrase what you're saying, and we do the same, very similar things, but is that what you were saying?
Exactly. 100%. That's exactly right. That's just hit the nail on the head.
So I think we already talked about a win that you've had in the business, with taking McGavick from, bottom dweller to top 15 in that particular location.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about a setback or a loss that you've experienced as a business owner and kind of what lessons you got out of that? Yeah.
So it coincides with the biggest win. So in 2023, we talked about Rockwall. Is it the beginning? End of 2023, McGavick sold Rockwall. And what's cool, remember they bought it at let's just say a penny, sold it for $10.
Oh, wow.
Right? Kind of thing. So when that happened, Brent gave us, or shortly thereafter, Brent said, hey, at the end of this year, he told us this in December. So like 2 weeks later, he's like, hey, I'm going to give you guys my portion of the business. just going to gift it to you. Thank you for helping me do what we just did at Rockwall. And there was a couple other stores that also had a similar success story that sold at that same time. So he sold those. Literally maybe 2 weeks before that, another huge, I'm talking like $10,000 a month in revenue clients sold to a national. They're also an automotive, but they're an auto body shop here in town. They sold to a national company. And so literally within a 60-day period, we lost $35,000 a month in revenue.
Oh, wow.
Ouch.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because now looking back, it's like, oh, we were playing house. Like we had these clients that we got really quickly that loved us, that were easy to work with, trusted us. And then they sold. And it's funny when they told me, I was so excited for them, for the business owner, like who became great friends. And I was like, man, this is crazy. Like we're talking generational wealth. Like, dude, I'm pumped for you. Like, I hope I'm in your shoes one day. Still hope that. Maybe not selling Tadpole, but selling something else down the road. I was so pumped. And then immediately, like later, I started looking at P&Ls like, oh, we are not set up for this.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we had never taken a distribution. We were just piling, saving money.
That's good.
And we had put ourselves, like we took pay cuts when it started. So like we were already used to getting paid less. Like we were just all in on putting money into Tadpole to grow it. So anyways, that happened. We learned to diversify our client portfolio.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
And that's all that to say, that was the lesson learned. It was really, really hard. 2023, it got to a point where we would say we have 90 days till we close. Like this is how much, with the little cash that we have on hand, if we keep losing the way we're losing money, we're going to have to shut our doors down in 90 days. And when we started Tadpole and we hired our first employee, we told ourselves like, okay, this is the same way that we treat our own kids is the way we treat Tadpole and the way that we treat our employees. Like we're going to do everything we can to set you up and treat Tadpole as a place that you want to retire, whether that's true or not. This is going to be a place that you want to be, that you're proud to be. You have all your needs fulfilled as far as, benefits. Hopefully 401k someday. We're still working towards that, but like that's always been our goal. And we've always been hyper intentional of, if we're going to hire someone, we're committing to them. Like, and we're going to do everything we can to keep them happy so that they in turn help us serve our clients to the best of our ability.
Well, what a dream attitude for any employer or employee to work for an employer like that. And, the lesson I was taking, and Albert, you probably got something to add to this too, but when you were talking about losing a huge client like that, for people out there listening who own a business, if you've got a client or just a few clients that all look the same, you need to be thinking about what will it look like if those clients have to leave for some reason or something doesn't work out. Yeah. Are we ready for a future storm? Have we diversified enough in our services, or can we reach a new audience if need be? Just having that kind of risk assessment is important, especially when you have been well established enough as a business owner. You've got your feet under you, but you always need to be thinking about what could happen and be ready.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's usually a red flag whenever you are looking at your income and looking at your customer list. And is there any one customer who makes up more than 10% of your revenue? That's usually a red flag that pops up of like, man, if that one customer went away,
that's a big chunk.
That's a big chunk of the revenue. And that's a great lesson. I'm sorry you had to learn that the hard way. I'm sure you'll never forget it.
Stronger for it now.
But absolutely.
But that's building a resilient business. And so now you're taking that, you're like, okay, on the customer list, like we don't need any one customer to make up, a large majority of our revenue. So what are we going to do to change that? And then our people.
Yep.
we're pouring into these people. They're learning so much. I don't want them to leave.
Mhm.
Okay. And so how can we, keeping the big picture in mind, like, all right, income needs to be greater than expenses. We need to be getting paid,
Yeah.
or else why would we be doing this? But taking that big picture into account, it's how can I make this a place that people want to grow in, that people, are rewarded for how hard they work.
Right.
They have benefits that make their quality of life better. And so you're building resiliency on the client side by getting more diversity there. And then on your employee side is, okay, how can I be best in class for the benefits, the pay, the work
Yeah.
environment that they get? And that's a masterclass right there. I love that.
Man, we're trying. And what's funny is the hardest thing was having the first time we ran into the 90-day thing. We took about 15 days and we're like, we probably need to tell the team. And that was the hardest thing I've ever done. But it was part of who we were. It was we can't just expect them to go down with the ship.
Yeah.
So
Being honest.
we pulled them in a meeting and said, hey, our goal has always been to be super transparent. We're paying ourselves as little as we can. We've never taken distribution. Here's this. But we want to let you know we have 90 days unless something happens. The next day, someone comes in and says, we have this project for you.
Wow.
Push that out another 90 days. And we just keep
manna
going.
Manna. That is God providing.
Yeah, man.
That my wife and I talk about this all the time, that that daily manna.
Yeah.
That when times are tough like that, just funny God math, a check that's the exact dollar amount you need, or that person who calls with that, exact number.
Mm-hmm.
That's a God thing. And that's kudos to you for having the difficult conversations. Cause that's hard. That is being a business owner, and it might be sunshine and rainbows and private jets and yachts and all the things that everyone sees on social media, but what they don't see is the weight that you guys carried.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. And thankfully those two are still the two full-time employees that we had that conversation with. They were the two that were there when this was happening. They're still with us. Cool. And at the end of that meeting, they're like, hey, I would work here for free if I'll go down with the ship. We'll figure it out later. And that was to us like tears, like, oh yeah, that was rough to hear.
That's fulfilling.
But it was like, okay, we're doing it right. And the next day it was like, I'm glad we stuck to our guns.
Great to have that kind of loyalty.
Yeah.
And to be loyal to people in that way. It feels good.
100%.
And you guys have we've heard a couple of different stories of from the beginning having a client and just crushing it, and then to getting crushed and then rebuilding, from the ashes, rebuilding to where you guys are today. With how many employees do y'all have?
We have 9 right now. So 2 are part-time college students, but they're our projection for when they graduate. They're in full-time.
So what's the next step? What are the next 3 to 5 years look like for Tadpole?
Man, so keep growing thoughtfully. We do have several niche. So like roofing is a really great one for me. Automotive is a really great one where we're growing that client list. Roofing, we literally have a client that's between all of our clients, we're serving all of Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska. Like we've got that region locked down. We have a client in Oregon. So it's kind of like finding our niches still, but also still knowing and understanding like, hey, all this money's fun. This is just savings money. It's not operational money, right? Like when we bring in more clients in a specific industry so that we don't get ourselves into that issue again. Especially we have some oil and gas companies. And to me, those are, fortunately, one of our clients, this dude loves to acquire. So when things take a turn like they are now, he's looking for how can I build this up?
Where the opportunities are.
Yeah, so they're awesome. But that being said, we're keeping an eye on being thoughtful and diversified growth. but also knowing our lane and finding, okay, can we make a run for this?
Yeah. And that's awesome when you knock one out of the park in the automotive industry and you're like, okay, we have a framework here. Like let's see if this is repeatable. Oh yeah, this is repeatable. Let's go get a bunch more of these customers.
Yeah.
And now what's the next industry that we can, fine tune what we've done in the automotive industry to apply to a different industry. And that's inspiring and really cool. All right, I want to ask. Let's start our fire round questions.
Okay.
I want some practical nuggets here. I feel like he's got some.
Yeah. Well,
maybe.
Let me kick us off here. What's the most common marketing mistake that you see business owners make, and how can they avoid it?
Yeah, I think most other local agencies can say this or would agree with me. So I'm gonna say it. Do not buy marketing from the local TV station or newspaper. The big guys that they're owned by and ran by someone in New York. You know what I mean? Like they're not local. The salesperson's local, but once they sell you, that's it. And I've heard countless horror stories.
Really?
And have been involved of like, oh, how do we get this domain back, for example? Well, this other company bought it and they said I owned it.
Oh, wow.
And they never got it back.
And don't even have control of their own
you don't have
domain.
Control.
Wow.
So just be thoughtful in who you're selecting. That we really do have an incredible lineup of people in Lubbock and just in West Texas. So do your research, find someone that's locally owned, or at least where you know that you could reach the owner. I think that's super imperative. Just because an agency or a business is small doesn't mean that they can't do massive things.
I love that. Great answer. Okay, what are some low-cost marketing tactics that deliver a good return on investment that small businesses need to try?
So because I know you guys are going to love this one, Google Business Profile or online directories. It's free, or you can hire someone like me. I think you guys could probably have a similar product too, where you can help optimize online directories and send their NAP or name, address, phone number to multiple directories. We have a super low entry, like anybody and everybody should be doing this. If you are a service business or a retail location, advertising or like getting your info on Google Business is free, and you should take full advantage of optimizing, answer every little field that it gives you, and just feed it. It's free and super, super successful.
Wow. And it's so funny. A lot of business owners just aren't taking the time to do something as simple as that. So that's a great tip.
And that's like what's the first thing you do? Whenever you're going to go see a movie or go out to eat or look for someone to do X, Y, or Z, like you Google it.
Yeah.
Or now, now maybe it's Chat GPT, but that uses Google.
Exactly.
And so having put your information in the front page.
Yeah.
There, that's so simple, so easy, and it's often overlooked.
Well, the next question is a bit related, I think, but I still want to ask it. How should small business owners approach paid advertising like Google Ads or Facebook ads? What do you say is the best strategy there?
Yeah, so I love digital, obviously. So, and the reason being is because you can be really smart with your money and get to a point where you can say, okay, every time I spend this much money, I'm going to get this much. So first of all, commit to spending generally 2 to 3% of your revenue. Get to a point where you can do that. Trust me, I've been in the place where there's no way I didn't have 0.001% to give to anything else. But if you can get to a point where you can regularly commit to doing 2 to 3% in paid ads, or just in marketing in general, even do it, and then find your personas. So here's my product. Here are the type of people that buy it. This is who I'm targeting, and then do that, and then just get obsessed with the data.
Okay,
because it's fun.
That's cool.
I love that, and you alluded to that there's so much. I mean, of course, Big Brother is listening. I feel like anytime my wife and I are talking about, you name it, it could be buying an ironing board, and then all of a sudden, all of my ads are ironing boards.
Yep.
I don't know why that came to mind, but you can target people really, really specifically in Google and Facebook have all of our data, and they know everything about you, your preferences, your habits, when you're awake, when you're asleep. It's terrifying. But as a business, learning how to use that data to get the most leads for the least amount of money, like that's something you guys got to spend some time on.
No, it's the best. I mean, I don't want to. I personally, of course, I'm the guy that works at an ad agency, right? So of course I'm going to say this, but I don't want to see ads about something that I'm not interested in. Like, why waste my time? I'm already not necessarily there for the ad, right? So I love this new like era in that we're in, where you are getting tailored or custom content to you. I mean, it's just it's better for everybody. Business owners don't have to spend as much money just for wasting time. It just makes so much sense.
Yeah, and that's one thing we've been told time and time again, of like the best ad spend dollars are more often than not Google and Facebook.
Yep. Yeah, streaming's a new one right now too that we've been doing a lot of connected TV.
I've been curious
or OTT.
about that. Yeah, I mean, I've seen commercials on, I'll have a YouTube video or something, and a local commercial will come up, and I'm like, I wonder if that's worth it for people to spend on. But what is your take on that?
It is awesome, man. Like, really? And I'm a big proponent. If you have the money, of course, I still agree. Like Google, and really Google's kind of your lower funnel. You're getting in front of people that are searching your stuff. But connected TV, opposed to doing traditional TV, is just awesome. Every year, I think this is data from like 2020, but 50% of cable viewers cut their cable in 2019, and then it's only doubled every single year. So cable TV in the next couple of years, I mean, it won't be there because there's no need. But with streaming, I mean, we have partners that can pull Experian data, that can pull like how you're purchasing, you're purchasing power, you're purchasing history, like what that's like. Of course, it's all encrypted, so you can't no one can really see that. It's not that creepy. It's just one computer seeing another computer and pulling that data. But you can get people to see your brand who are actually going to interact with your brand versus just paying a lot of money to show it at a very specific time slot and hoping that it hits. They're not all Hershey or Skittles or any of those Super Bowl commercial companies. So why would we advertise that way or spend our money that way?
Makes sense.
All right. How can we send people to you? How can people do business with you?
So Tadpole Agency, thetadpoleagency.com is our website. Any of our socials, you can reach out to me directly. Same thing through social media, or my email's jonathan@thetadpoleagency.com. Like, literally, send a bird, come to our office, like whatever you want to do, we'll take it. So
messenger pigeon, anything. Yeah. All right, take all comers. It's great.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate you being our guest.
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right. A lot of business owners feel stuck in their business. They don't know the next steps to take to get their business to the next level. And that's why Stag Business Coaching exists, to take your business to the next level in a fraction of the time. Whether you're trying to grow, get more organized, or just get your sanity back, we can help. Book a consult with Stag by tapping the link in our show notes, and we'd love to sit down with you and craft a roadmap to take your business to the next level. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.